Under the veil of night, some things are quietly spiraling out of control. A guy in glasses and a suit, looking like he's in charge, tries to shut down the chaos. But he's got one thing wrong. On this turf, he's not the one making the rules. Our boy, Kwon Daegun, doesn't even bother to hear him out. One punch. That's all it takes. The burly dude goes flying like he got hit by a truck. The message is crystal clear. Stay out of the way. And the man with the glasses? He just watches coldly, a calculating look in his eyes. It seems like he knows this monster. Kwon Daegun. Just who is this guy? But trouble has a way of finding you. A new challenger approaches, a guy in sunglasses blocking Daegun's path, his voice dripping with provocation. Oh, you guys just love to come to me one by one. Before the words even fade, a sharp pain explodes at the back of Daegun's neck. An ambush. Daegun hits the dirt hard, but rage instantly replaces the pain. He pushes himself up, eyes burning with fire, locked on the man with the glasses. Just what are you? His roar carries the primal pressure of a cornered beast. But the glasses-wearing man is unervingly calm, as if this was all part of the plan. He adjusts his glasses and declares dismissively, "Now that the misunderstanding's been cleared, let's all go our own way." This condescending act is like pouring gasoline on a fire. He's trying to squash the situation with authority, but all it does is fuel Daegun's fury. "You're not the one who gets to decide that," Daegun replies, his voice cold as ice. He sees right through him. This man is interested in him. He even knows about his victory over Baek Suyak. This is no small-time player. He's part of something bigger. The man with the glasses smirks, grabbing another boy by the collar as a hostage to recruit Daegun. "How about we have a more constructive conversation?" He thinks he's found Daegun's weakness, but he's dead wrong. The next second, a white car screeches onto the scene, sending the hostage flying. In the chaos, Daegun has already made his move. "Thank you, Kwon Daegun." Nah, this is just how he solves problems. Clean, efficient, and brutally violent. As the dust settles, a girl runs over, thankful that someone named Suzy is safe. The name sends Daegun into a flashback. Suzy, the violent tomboy from his childhood who would stomp him into the ground and steal his snacks. Memory and reality intertwine. That tomboy from the past is now a young woman. And another boy, proclaiming himself Suzy's blood brother, is emotionally approving a relationship between her and Daegun. Daegun's reaction? Since when is it your call to make? Suzy's heart is also in turmoil. She's curious about how Kwon Daegun feels about her, but she's never expressed her own feelings. Soon enough, though, she pushes aside her girlish thoughts, her gaze turning resolute. How he feels isn't important, though. Daegun's mind, however, is somewhere else entirely. He's concluded this place is just an outpost for the Gapshin cult, their real base hidden somewhere else. Things are never this easy. He's slightly annoyed by the girl's distraction, a hint of warning in his eyes. Suddenly, Suzy throws her arms around him in a tight, tearful embrace. Daegun freezes, but his cold exterior doesn't melt. His hand reaches out towards another terrified kid, his gaze still frigid, as if declaring his absolute control over the situation. The scene shifts, and a web of conspiracy tightens. A man named Sungmo appears, seemingly connected to the guy with the glasses. Their conversation reveals the higher-ups pulling the strings and how they're using Kwon Daegun as a key pawn. Finally, the masterminds step out of the shadows. A man named Cho Gapryong, dripping with ambition. He plans to become the king above, while his partner, Kim Chun, will become king of the underground. A massive Game of Thrones is about to begin. Daegun's team is making moves too. They gather in a war room, walls covered in maps and data. Intel reveals that the Gapshin cult is a front, an orphanage that's actually a factory for child criminals. The target location is locked. It's time to go on the offensive. The team's analyst, the woman with the glasses, warns them. The enemy sees Daegun as just another disposable pawn, like Baek Suyak before him. They have to play it smart. The target isn't just the Gapshin cult, but Cho Gapryong himself. A crucial piece of information surfaces. The enemy seems to have no idea about the Bully in Charge project. This could be their greatest advantage. Cho Gapryong deliberately kept the two organizations separate, and there has to be a bigger scheme behind it. Daegun's getting a headache from all this complex strategic analysis. He cuts to the chase. "So what do you want me to do?" He doesn't get politics, but he gets fighting. All he needs is a target. The woman with the glasses hands him a black hoodie. "You just have to follow my directions." Night falls, the city lights flicker to life, and Daegun suits up, walking alone into the darkness. The hunt is on. He plays by the rules, the enemy's rules. First, he shows weakness, dropping to his knees, baiting the question, "Who are you?" Then, in the split second they let their guard down, he answers with violence. A few thugs are barely a warm-up. They try to scare him off by dropping the name of their backer. Daegun just scoffs and grinds his heel on their heads. Girls, go wait in the corner, he tells the women nearby, his voice terrifyingly calm. In their world, the law doesn't work. Force is necessary. And Kwon Daegun is the man born for this job. He's not just muscle, he's the one-of-a-kind solution. Mission complete. He approaches the girl he saved, and the atmosphere gets a little complicated. I won't do anything to you, he says. She blushes, asking quietly, so, where do you want to talk? Meanwhile, his teammates are already gossiping from afar. He is pretty handsome, isn't he? Elsewhere, inside the Gaption orphanage, a man is having his blood forcibly drawn. This is no ordinary orphanage. It's more like a secret lab. The seeds of suspicion have been planted. Back with Daegun, his conversation with the girl is filled with tension and flirtation. She gets close, whispering, as if tempting him to break his promise of not doing anything. Daegun keeps his distance, ending the conversation coolly. That's all. Thank you for your time. But the girl doesn't seem ready to let him go, her fingers lightly touching his chest, her gaze full of meaning. Back in the car, his teammates worry if he can handle this alone. But the girl with glasses has faith. We need someone who can take care of something like this alone. Daegun's abilities are the key to their entire plan. The next mission begins. Just think of it as going fishing, they tell him. Daegun's eyes sharpen as he locks onto a man pushing a cart on the street corner. The fish has taken the bait. But things go south fast as the target is suddenly ambushed by another crew. A street brawl erupts in an instant. Daegun doesn't hesitate. He dives right in. His fights are always like this, sudden and brutally efficient. After successfully rescuing the target, they speed away. The girl in the back seat, with a smile of relief, whispers, thanks to Daegun. But Daegun just stares ahead, expressionless. The danger is far from over. A van appears in the rearview mirror, tailing them closely. They've been spotted. The girl with the glasses analyzes calmly. There's no way they caught on that fast, which means there's a mole, or the enemy is far more capable than they imagined. Daegun's gaze turns to ice. He recognizes the man in the car behind them, Kim Chun, also known as Wang Cho, the man who wants to be king of the underground. It seems they've hooked a real Leviathan. A desperate chase unfolds on the midnight streets. The two vehicles slam into each other wildly, sparks flying. This isn't a normal pursuit. This is a race for their lives. Pedal to the metal, the screech of brakes tearing through the night. The two cars are side by side now, a standoff in the darkness, their bright headlights like the eyes of beasts staring each other down. The enemy tries to grab their steering wheel, attempting to force them to a stop. In this critical moment, the girl with the glasses makes her move. She calmly pulls a metal ball from her bag. No hosatashchen. She aims and throws. Her movements are fluid, unbelievably precise. Kaboom! The metal ball shatters the enemy's window like a cannonball, knocking the driver out cold. One shot, one kill. A flicker of approval crosses Daegun's eyes. His teammates are not to be underestimated. The car is stopped, but the fight isn't over. Daegun leaps out and confronts the remaining enemies. Using the same kind of metal ball, he takes down another one with clean efficiency. The remaining grunts rush him with clubs, but what meets them is a storm of brutal attacks. A car window shatters again, but this time it's from the inside out. Daegun bursts out of the van, moving like lightning. He's not fighting, he's taking out the trash. Every single move is filled with overwhelming power. The enemy doesn't even see him move before they're sent flying. This is the power of the bully in charge, pure, crushing violence. He even pulls out a knife, not to kill, but to dismantle his opponent's ability to fight more efficiently. Every strike lands precisely on joints and weak points, completely neutralizing them. You're the Gaption cults? What was it again? He asks casually while beating them to a pulp. To him, these guys aren't even worthy of being remembered. Finally, he comes face to face with Wang Cho. You coming to me yourself makes things easier, Daegun says flatly, but Wang Cho can feel the suffocating pressure. He's getting annoyed with all this endless baiting. Wang Cho sneers back, thinking he stands a chance against Daegun. He's wrong. Daegun's fists are much faster and much, much heavier than he ever imagined. Every punch is like a sledgehammer. Wang Cho is beaten back, his body slamming against the car again and again with dull, heavy thuds. His teammates watch from the car, horrified. They want to help, but they know they'd be useless. This fight is on a completely different level. Daegun's power just keeps climbing. He kicks Wang Cho into the air, sending him tumbling before crashing back down to earth. This isn't a duel anymore. It's a one-sided execution. Wang Cho is on his knees, his eyes filled with rage and disbelief. Daegun just looks down on him with cold indifference, as if he's looking at an ant. This wasn't even a warm-up. Just who are you? Wancho asked the question on everyone's mind. Daegun counters. What's your connection to Jumryong? He doesn't care about this opponent, only the powers behind him. Screw that. I just need to beat you up. Wancho decides to stop thinking and answer with pure violence. He marks Daegun as an enemy and prepares to go all out. But his so-called all-out attack is just a joke to Daegun. Every one of his strikes is effortlessly deflected and countered with even more ferocious blows. Daegun's eyes grow colder, his movements faster. He's like a precision killing machine with no wasted motion. Wancho is completely overwhelmed. He doesn't even have time to react as he's knocked to the ground again and again. Every kick whistles through the air, and Wancho feels like his bones are screaming. This bastard. His movements are getting faster and faster. Wancho screams in his mind. He can't keep up with Daegun's rhythm at all. This is no longer a gap in skill. It's a gap in species. With a final blow, Daegun descends from above, bringing his foot down to decisively end the fight. He stands over Wancho, his gaze calm. But Wancho feels himself entering a state of immersion, his focus razor-sharp. He knows he can't concentrate, because the man before him is a threat to his very life. I might not be able to win. The thought enters Wancho's mind for the first time. But Daegun just feels bored. This little bit of entertainment wasn't enough. His teammates decide to complete their part of the job. They rush out of the car and subdue the remaining enemies. Everyone is doing their part. Daegun grinds his foot into Wancho's back, his eyes filled with contempt. He's more boring than I thought. He's already lost interest in this opponent. Just then, Wancho suddenly pulls out a dagger for one last desperate attack. I'll kill you, he screams. But Daegun's reaction is faster. He enters the immersion state. He can see every move, every intention. Wancho's instincts were right. Daegun is a threat to his life because in this moment, Daegun has become hunter. The dagger flies from his hand. Wancho's face is a mask of pure terror. The fighting instincts he was so proud of are useless before Daegun. Daegun's fists rain down, each blow precise and devastating. This isn't a fight. This is him dismantling a machine. He presses down on Wancho, his eyes cold, the blade in his hand glinting. His teammates watch from a distance, their hearts pounding in fear. Will Daegun be okay? They start to worry that this uncontrolled violence might end up consuming him. Meanwhile, the driver of the other car, Wancho's accomplice, is getting ready to join the fray. But he hasn't noticed that the girls in the back seat have their own little toys ready. In Daegun's world of immersion, he can see all his opponent's trajectories. Every possibility converges into a single line, and he is the master of that line. This is how he survived. He was born in the wild, fighting, stealing, and struggling to live like an animal. To stay alive, he honed his survival instincts into the sharpest of blades. Sometimes like a hyena, other times like an alligator, every moment was an evolution for the sake of survival. That instinct is now carved into his very bones. And now, that blade is telling him, the man before him is dangerous. Wancho feels it too. For the first time, he feels a fear that chills him to his very soul. Wancho's accomplice charges their car with a wrench, but before he can even get close, a taser drops him instantly. The girls have executed their support role perfectly. The other fight is also nearing its end. Wancho gains a predictive ability and thinks he can finally fight back. He starts to anticipate Daegun's moves. But the future he sees has only one ending, death. No matter how he predicts, all paths lead to the same result. Daegun doesn't even need to move for Wancho to sense the irresistible killing intent. I'm dead. What was that? Wancho's world shatters. And in that same moment, a voice screams in Daegun's head. Run. An overwhelming feeling of dread washes over him. His body reacts on pure instinct, turning and fleeing without a second thought. His teammate shouts behind him, but he can't stop. He gets it now. This whole thing was a trap, a giant piece of bait. The enemy's goal wasn't to defeat him, but to test him, to observe him. Meanwhile, the true masterminds reveal themselves. A woman in a baseball cap reports to a man in a suit. What's the result? The man asks, a playful, dangerous smile on his face. The woman excitedly throws her arms around him. Say the word. You promised you'd grant my wish if I succeeded. Their game has only just begun. Elsewhere, Daegun's team initiates the final plan. They've arrived at their last hideout. The girl with the glasses knows that coming here means there's no turning back. Cho Gapryong is now personally targeting her. She tends to Daegun's wounds in the quiet atmosphere. The cut isn't deep. His combat instincts made him dodge the fatal blow subconsciously. In this moment of peace, the girl apologizes to him for misunderstanding him, for thinking he only knew how to solve things with his fists. She finally understands that his violence was born from his past. Just how many fights have you been in? She asks softly. Daegun's mind drifts back to his unbearable school days. I was bullied, he says quietly. Not for any big reason, just for trivial things like being poor, like being a loner. He was mocked, had insulting notes taped to his back, was ordered to smile. Every single day of that time was torture. Even the adults thought it was just trivial stuff. But to him, that photo, soaked and ruined in the rain, was the only thing he cherished. It was his entire world. But luckily, everything got better after that, the girl says gently, because he started fighting back. Everyone who bullied me got handled. Punch by punch, everything got solved, he says. That's when I started using my fists to survive. I became stronger to survive, and that strength was violence. He knows there are other ways to be strong, which is why he's been studying so hard. But it's not easy. Just as he's sinking into self-loathing, the girl hugs him from behind, placing a gentle kiss on his head. At the same time, Suzy learns that Daegun is facing an extremely dangerous enemy, and her heart seizes with fear. Won't he be in danger? And on the other side of the story, Daegun has already infiltrated the enemy's office. This is a secret mission from the Foundation's chairman. Sneak in and steal every piece of intel. A new storm is about to break. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, another plan is quietly set in motion. A woman with glasses speaks coldly into her phone. The bully for Bullies project. Yeah, we've got a bite. This is just the beginning. Behind her, a ridiculously ripped guy looks confused. Where's my school uniform? The performance review is today. But back at Daegun's school, Jimryong High, the vibe is straight up panic. He didn't come again. A few students are freaking out like it's the end of the world. Apparently, without Daegun, the school's entire order is about to collapse. For them, this guy is both a nightmare and their only salvation. Trouble, as usual, comes knocking. A group of thugs corners Beck Suzy, demanding to see Kwon Daegun. Looking for me? Suzy keeps her head down, but a tiny, mischievous smile plays on her lips. This must be about Kwon Daegun, right? And in the next second, she flips the script entirely. You want Kwon Daegun to show up? Then why don't you just kidnap me? The thugs are completely stunned. Do I really have to explain this? Suzy flips her hair. Her tone is casual as discussing the weather. The moment he learns I'm in danger, he'll show up. It's as obvious as an apple falling from a tree. This girl isn't just smart. She's a master player. Word of the kidnapping spreads, but Suzy calmly analyzes the situation for everyone. This has to be the work of either the Gapshin cult or the folks from the orphanage. She casually drops the names, muddying the waters. The game is unfolding exactly as she designed. But then, an unexpected guest arrives from beyond the rooftop fence. A hand suddenly thrusts through the wire mesh. What the? This is a rooftop. Before anyone can react, the figure climbs over. It's none other than Suzy's brother, Beck Suyak. Appa. Even Suzy is shocked. Suyak's eyes are blazing with fury. Kidnapping, you say? Didn't you tell me yesterday that nothing happened? He's clearly worried sick, but his way of showing it is intense. Talk about a classic, overprotective brother. After clearing up the misunderstanding, Daegun's friends invite Suyak to join them in protecting Daegun from the Gapshin cult. And just like that, Suyak is caught in a massive dilemma. On one hand, he's maintaining a fragile relationship with the cult for money for Suzy. On the other hand, Daegun's safety is directly tied to his sister's happiness. What a hell of a choice. I refuse. Suyak gives his answer. The three of you won't be any help to Kwon Daegun. You just get in the way. His words are harsh, but they're the truth. Kwon Daegun isn't weak enough for you to worry about. Trust him, and if you can't, then get stronger. With that, he turns and leaves, tossing one last jab over his shoulder. Can't you at least take the stairs when you're going down? The story cuts back to Daegun. He's meeting with the woman from the Foundation, discussing the movements of the Gapshin cult and the Mud Club. And here, the shocking truth is revealed. The Bully for Bullies project was designed from the start to use Kwon Daegun to clean up the entire Taejun region. He isn't an agent, he's a weapon. In a secret meeting among the Foundation's top brass, Daegun's worth is coldly calculated. He's a useful blade, but at the same time, a dirty knife that could stain our clean suits with blood at any moment. Their plan is even more sinister. Make his hands so bloody that he can never leave them, turning him into a loyal, dirty knife that can never be thrown away. Daegun, of course, knows none of this. He's just trying to complete his mission and protect the people he cares about. In an arcade, he saves a girl from being harassed, easily dispatching a few thugs. But after the fight, a sense of confusion washes over him. No matter which side I take, my hands are going to get bloody. This is a game with no turning back. What was I even trying to protect in the first place? Daegun is drowning in self-doubt. To protect his pack, he had to run away, but was that really the best choice? At the same time, his friend Sung-hoon, disguised as a nerd, gets cornered in an alley by a blonde punk looking for a mud cellar. Oi, show me the goods. Pretty fast for a goody two-shoes. The blonde's punch flies, but Sung-hoon blocks it easily. In the next instant, the tables are turned. Sung-hoon slams the guy into the ground with a throw, sending his glasses flying. I came to steal, not to buy, he says calmly. Damn, this dude was hiding his power level. Meanwhile, Suzy and the gang decide they're done waiting around. They go to the true leader of Jumryong High for help. Faced with a locker stuffed with cash, the girl's eyes harden with determination. Leave it to me. Looks like a student-led counterattack is about to begin. And in the city's underground fighting rings, a blonde champion, fresh off a brutal victory, is roaring, "Is there anyone else?" Just then, a mysterious figure in a hoodie and mask steps into the ring. It's Daegun, on a mission to clean up the remnants of these mud clubs. The fight is over in an instant. The champion is knocked out with a single kick, completely helpless. Champion, Daegun takes off his cap, unimpressed. I just came here to smash everything. The Foundation's plan is moving forward, but what they don't know is that this dirty knife is starting to think for itself. The chairman, learning of the changes to his plan, is furious. He deploys new pieces, ready to stir up an even bigger storm between the Gapshin cult and the Shin Il Association. In a car heading to Taejun, a man in sunglasses smirks. Before I take out Baki, I might as well warm up by killing all of them from the Gapshin cult. New enemies have entered the game, more brutal, more dangerous. As Daegun's friends plan a covert infiltration mission, a girl suddenly demands to join, revealing her absolutely broken skill: summon 4 heavenly kings. Right as they're discussing things, a guy in a suit named Yu Jiziak appears, seemingly knowing everything about their plan. They're starting to realize what true strength is. It's not about standing above others. It's about being able to protect what's precious to you. This belief strengthens their resolve. They decide to pose as new mud distributors to infiltrate the enemy's den. What they don't know is that their every move is being watched. When they arrive at their destination, they walk right into a carefully laid trap. Baek Suyok suddenly appears and snatches the key item from their hands. Traitor! The girl screams in fury. But this is all part of Suyok's plan. He's drawing all the fire to himself to protect his sister and her friends. I won't let the Gapshin cult's rotten water flow into Jumryong High anymore. He's determined to sever his ties with the past, facing his former associates alone. However, the man he's facing is Sung-mu, the master who once trained him from a beast into a man. Have you forgotten your past? Sung-mu crushes Suyok under his foot with overwhelming power. I put you in a school uniform, taught you how to count money, taught you how to protect your sister, you ungrateful beast. Just as Suyok is on the brink of death and Daegun's friends are surrounded, a miracle happens. The girl activates her skill, and the 4 heavenly kings of Jumryong High descend from the sky. The Gapshin cult? They look at the grunts before them and smirk. Perfect. A little appetizer. The tide of battle has turned in an instant. Meanwhile, Daegun and the woman from the Foundation are driving to the Gapshin cult's headquarters, ready to steal the crucial Gapryong file. The plan is simple. Daegun creates a diversion outside to draw out their main forces, while an operative sneaks in to grab the file. Everything seems to be going according to plan. The plan? Already in shambles. But to understand the current madness, we need to rewind a bit and look at the story of another pawn in this game. This guy is Baek Suyok, the 3rd-year leader of Jumryong High. He's been summoned by a man from the Foundation for a so-called handover. Why me, he asks. Because you're in charge, the suit replies coldly. Suyok gets a sinking feeling. He knows the principal has no intention of letting him graduate. In this school, getting in is easy, getting out is the hard part. The Foundation gives him a uniform, a title, the leader, and a mission. They're not interested in money. They want his influence. They want him to become a symbol, a beacon to draw all the strongest fighters in Taejun to this very school. This uniform will be your strongest shield, the suit says, even using his sister as leverage. Wear it, Baek Suyok. From now on, you're the leader of Jumryong High. And Suyok played his part. He walked the calculated path laid out for him by a man named Sung-mu. He conquered, he took over, he became the king they wanted him to be. But soon enough, he realized he was just a puppet. The numbers game he was playing became chains that wrapped around him. The stronger he got, the tighter the chains became. He thought he was in control, only to find out he was the real beast in a cage. Enough. He finally realizes that while tied to someone else's will, he couldn't protect a damn thing. With my own power, I'll protect what I want to protect. He clenches his fist, determined to liquidate the past. I will break you, Sungmo. And that's the awakening of another designated bully. Now let's get back to our boy. Daegun is still in the car, on his way to stir up trouble at the Gapshin cult's hideout. Suddenly, a text comes in from his friend. Don't worry, we'll use our power. These dudes, they jumped the gun. The woman from the Foundation confirms it. Daegun's friends are already clashing with the cult. The plan is officially toast. It's time to improvise. And the scene is pure chaos. The Foundation's infiltration agent, Minsu, is fighting his way through the mess to secure a black box, while the four heavenly kings of Jumryong High are going on a rampage. They're like tigers let loose, tearing through the cult's grunts. But the enemies just keep coming, and even the heavenly kings are starting to feel the pressure. Just then, another group of uninvited guests joins the party. A blonde guy with sunglasses, calling himself Loki Jang, rolls up in a flashy green classic car with his crew. Their objective is unknown, but they're clearly not here to make friends. And to make things even weirder, a taxi driver spots a girl in black clinging to the roof of a speeding white car. Damn, Seoul is getting interesting tonight. Daegun finally arrives. He takes one look at the chaotic battlefield, wastes no time on words, and gets straight to work. However, he quickly realizes something's off with his opponents. These guys are drugged up on something called mud, a substance that instantly boosts their combat abilities. They fight without fear, like rabid dogs. One of them, a silver-haired dude, is particularly tricky. His fighting style, it's all calculated. This guy with the glasses, it's none other than Baek Suyeok, the man we saw earlier. He's no longer the puppet he once was. He looks at Daegun like an interesting math problem. I can see your every move, he scoffs. No matter how overwhelming your physical strength is, the laws of physics can be calculated. In his eyes, Daegun is just a beast whose data can be quantified. Meanwhile, the observers from the Foundation are watching this showdown with great interest. They're analyzing the state of immersion, a special ability activated in life or death situations. They note that Daegun's immersion is driven by pure survival instinct. He either runs or he wins. As for Suyeok, he's turned the fight into a formula, one he believes he has already solved. You're just a beast bound by chains, Suyeok taunts. And Daegun does feel the chains, but they aren't from Suyeok. They're shackles he put on himself, for money, for a girl's smile. He thought those numbers would bring happiness, but they just became chains to bind him. But is she really smiling? He asks himself. And then he understands. The one who locked me up was me. In that moment of epiphany, the beast within shatters its chains. Suyeok's pupils contract. He feels something has changed. He's gotten faster, but the formula is the same. He calculates. But Daegun roars, the input has changed. A problem, once solved, is no longer a problem. But what happens when the problem itself changes? Perfect immersion. Daegun's strength, speed, senses, everything skyrockets to its absolute limit. Suyeok's calculations instantly crumble. His precious formula is as fragile as paper in the face of absolute power. Daegun gives him the answer in the most primitive, savage way possible. Boom! The fight is over. Suyeok lies on the ground, his eyes filled with disbelief. I'll walk my own path, Daegun tells him coldly, then turns away. His friends gather around him. He was late, but he made it. Sorry I'm late, he says with a smile. In this moment, he's no longer the Foundation's designated bully. He's the true leader of Jumryong High. They're not alone anymore. After the dust settles, Daegun finds Yang Mohyun. After a complicated exchange, he seems to have made up his mind. Can I ask you for one favor? He says. The next second, Minsu pulls up in a car. Perfect timing, huh? Hop in. Daegun is a bit surprised. Wait, you're driving? But there's no time to hesitate. Next destination, the Gapshin orphanage. The orphanage, the place where it all began. A man with white hair and sunglasses opens his arms as if welcoming them. This is the man behind the Gapshin cult, the chairman of the Foundation, Joe Gapryong. This is the place where all the strays gather, all of them pawns in his cruel experiment. Daegun and Joe Gapryong face off in the hallway. Memories of the past come flooding back. Turns out, they were both children of this orphanage. I thought you'd always be with us. Joe Gapryong's voice is void of emotion. But why? What did we fail to do? Daegun's voice trembles, a mix of rage and betrayal. Joe Gapryong tells him it was all for survival, to create a winner. The Foundation's immersion project is just one big survival game, designed to weed out the weak. You talk as if I wish for you to disappear, he mocks. You're no different from me. You're part of my story. But Daegun is no longer a tool to be used. Listening to you, I got curious about the backstory, he says, pulling out a recorder. I'll make you tell me everything. The fight is far from over. One person's share, a chance to prove you're a person. In the world this man built, the rules were simple. You either earn your keep or you get erased as trash. There's no in between. And our boy, he was a natural survivor. He never formed bonds because bonds were a liability. One by one, everyone who couldn't pull their weight vanished. And a twisted part of him was happy about it. He proved his existence by being the last one standing, in the past and in the present. So when the director's loyal dog stands in his way, barking, "You'll only reach him after you kill me," Daegun can only find it amusing. He's not here for a monologue. He's here to finish a job. I don't have time to waste on you. A flash, a blur of motion, and the loyalist is on the floor, stunned, wondering when the hell our boy got so damn fast. But then, a deliberate hit. An observer gasps. He took that on purpose. This is the secret to his power. A voice echoes in his mind, explaining the game's core mechanic. The trigger for immersion is survival instinct. Either flee or fight and win. And when you're cornered by a real threat, you're left with only one option: growth. To close that gap, you have to grow in real time. And just like that, the so-called threat becomes a stepping stone. The hunter becomes the hunted. It's a one-sided beatdown, a brutal ballet of violence. Every punch widens the gap between them, until the threat from before is no longer a threat at all. This is Kwon Daegun's immersion. The onlookers are stunned. What kind of insane power is this? The answer is simple and terrifyingly unfair. They call it a slope, a survival immersion. No matter how high his opponent is, he finds a foothold, a grip, and just keeps climbing until they're on the same level. What's a sheer cliff to others is just a way up for him. The fight's over. Lying in the rain, the defeated man sputters his reason. Family. The word hangs in the air, a bitter irony. Aren't you the same? Kwon Daegun, he mocks. And the question hits home. Daegun remembers the emptiness inside him, and the boy named Park Hee-jun who offered to fill it. A new family, forged in the fires of high school delinquency, using violence to control violence. Yet here he is, preaching to another. The irony is sickening, but he has to climb. He has to surpass that man. But Daegun isn't the only piece moving on this board. The man in the suit, the one who always watched from the shadows, remembers a time when he was the one protecting Daegun. I can't just stand here watching him forever, he thinks, stepping into an elevator. Because now it's my turn to move. Meanwhile, a high-speed chase tears through the city streets. It ends in a mess of twisted metal and shattered glass. The target is neutralized, but there's a big problem. The kid they used as a pawn, Seo Jae-won, ran off with the evidence. And worse, he took the wrong recorder. The real dirt, the one that could burn the entire foundation to the ground, is still out there. And its whereabouts are tied to one person. Seo Jae-won, the only witness, now lies broken in a hospital bed. A loose end, a liability. And as our boy, Kwon Daegun, stands over the unconscious kid, he pulls down his mask. His eyes are cold, resolute. I think it's time to end this.